Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com here to bring you the reveal of all of these fish that we received yesterday from Live Fish Direct. They've all settled in and they've all adapted very nicely to the tank. They're all kind of accumulated over here right now because of this guy. He has already taken control of the tank and he has commandeered a small area over there as his, and he's a little bit confused because he, I guess, thinks that he's going to have some chicks coming over tonight. But unfortunately, those days are over for him, so he'll figure that out eventually, and these guys won't be congregated over here on the side. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go through each individual fish, tell you a little bit about them, and it's going to be kind of like my old shipment videos. If you remember those, I used to go through and talk about each individual fish, and those videos were really popular, so this will kind of take the place of that. So the breakdown is pretty simple. 10 haps, 10 peacocks, all males. And I really do believe that just about anybody that is interested in African cichlids and has been keeping them for a little bit of time, if they were to put together a list of the dream tank, I promise you all 20 of these fish would be on that list of just about every African cichlid keeper. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the peacocks. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm gonna cut in between each one because, you know, I'm just not good enough to do it all in one take. So let's start out with the peacocks and we'll tell you a little bit about them and show you all of these gorgeous fish. All right, so I'm gonna start out with this guy right here. He is the red-top LWANDA peacock. Absolutely striking. I've had a lot of LWANDAs. This guy right here is absolutely gorgeous. Now, the reason why I'm starting with him is because he wasn't featured in the unboxing video. The Livingstonii is pushing him around. We didn't show him in the unboxing video, and the only thing I can think is that it happened during the time when the tank was about to overflow, and I paused the video to take some water out of the tank. I think Lisa might have taken him out of the box during that time, and so it wasn't on video. But there he is. He was part of the shipment yesterday. He is absolutely striking, and LWANDAs for sure are going to be in everybody's dream list. It's literally, I think, the nicest LWANDA I've ever had. Dark blue with that yellow margin that goes all the way around the fish. Absolutely gorgeous. I think you're going to hear me say the word gorgeous a lot in this video. And speaking of gorgeous, let's move on to this guy here, the lemon jake. These fish yesterday, folks, when you saw them in the bags, it did them no justice at all. This lemon jake wasn't showing a whole lot in the bag, but look at him now. I mean, he's almost all yellow with some blue in the face, a little bit of blue going down the body. That's when you want to get a lemon jake, that is why you want him. Just for that reason. Look how gorgeous he is. I mean, yellow all the way around. What am I supposed to say? Gorgeous? I mean, that's what I've been saying over and over, and it's not going to be the last time you're going to hear me say that. Now, lemon jakes do typically get a little larger than your average peacocks. I've seen lemon jakes up to about 7 inches before. It doesn't mean they're all going to get that big, but an African cichlid tank, particularly a peacock tank that does not have a lemon jake in it, it's just not right. Here we have the Flavescent, and this is a great example of a Flavescent. The dark blue face, dark blue fins, a little bit of blue in the body, yellow throughout the majority of the body, and then it's kind of capped off by that white margin on the dorsal fin, which I love. I mean, Flavescents are one of those, when we were selling fish, when we got Flavescents in, especially larger males, they went fast. We couldn't keep them in the store. And I was never able to get one that, you know, I could keep for myself because I would be losing so much money. So we always ended up selling out of them, and now I finally have one, so that is really exciting. That is the Flavescent peacock, and you know, that's what you want right there. Since this guy was pushing himself into the frame here, I guess he wants to be showcased now. He's posing a little bit. This is the red shoulder peacock, and again, I'm going to keep saying this, but a perfect example of a red shoulder. Primarily a blue fish with the red going right down behind the gill plate. hence the name red shoulder. Beautiful. I have heard people talk about red shoulders as if they are, you know, mean, and they're, you know, one of those groups of peacocks that are particularly nasty. I haven't found that to be true. I could give you examples of just about every type of peacock. I could tell you stories about them, you know, being a little bully in the tank. So I'm definitely not going to categorize red shoulders as one of those. This guy right here, he's not hurting anybody, and he is a diva. Look at him. I mean, that's what you want right there, is a fish that's going to pose for you when you're doing videos. I mean, I could tape this guy all day long. He's just having a good old time. The Angara flametail, this guy is a nice one too. Really, really dark. Not quite the poser that the red shoulder was, but mostly blue, and then they're going to have, where'd he go? They're going to have reddish orange color that goes throughout some of the lower body and then extends out through the tail, hence the name flametail. Absolutely beautiful. This is another one that for a while there, I'm not sure why, they were a little bit difficult to find, especially larger males. So when we had them, they would go fast, and with good reason. I mean, with so many fish being blue, you know, the bluefish are obviously the most popular, but with this one having that little flare of red going down, which, you know, red is actually orange, it's you know, it's a recipe for the perfect fish. So he wants to hide back there behind the Taiwan reef, but this is a great example of an Angara flametail. Absolutely love him. Another showstopper here is the OB. This guy is awesome. He's different, which is what I like. I really love all the yellow in him. This is the one yesterday that I showed you. Get out of the way, Azureus. Come on. I showed you him. He was not very happy in the bags because his bag looked like it had gotten a little bit low on water, but you can see he's perfectly fine now. He has adjusted really well. Took him a couple hours or so to get over his moodiness, but once he did, he ate like 2 hours after putting him in the tank. I mean, he was good to go. So OB peacocks, I've done several videos about OBs and hybrids in general. You know, you either love them or hate them. Fortunately for me, I am one of those people that absolutely loves them, and I really can't figure out why anybody wouldn't love them. I mean, they're all the speckles and stuff like that. It's beautiful. They come in a lot of different varieties. Some of them have a lot of red, some of them have a lot of white, blue, yellow. You never really know what you're going to get, and that's what I love about them. The variations in them. This guy right here, I'm so glad Josh picked this one because I love all the yellow. And speaking of yellow, we have the Sunshine. Now, this is another one that you really have to have one of these in your African cichlid tank if you're going to try and call it an African cichlid tank. I mean, all yellow with the blue face, you cannot deny how gorgeous that fish is. Not quite as photogenic as the others. He wants to hide a little bit on us, but this guy right here, again, I'm just going to keep saying this, a perfect example of a Sunshine. Beautiful, deep, deep yellow color with that blue in the face. He is a keeper. And now we move on to one of my favorites that got sent yesterday, and the main reason why is because I've never had one, and that is the Rubescens. Of course, he's going to try and hide back there in the corner. Mostly red fish with the blue face. There are a few fish that have that same type of configuration, the German red, the ruby red, and then some strawberries are that way also. And I think they pretty much all started in the same place, but different breeders took them different directions. This is the Rubescen variety. And again, it's one of those fish that has eluded me for the entire time that I've been keeping Africans. And so to get one yesterday was a real treat because I've never had one before. I've had a lot of strawberries and German reds and never had the Rubescens. So they were just never available when I was ready to buy. So really excited to get him. And again, primarily red with that white margin and the blue face. I mean, it's perfect. And now I'm gonna try and get the bicolor. He's hiding back there. I am a huge dork when it comes to bicolors. One of Lisa's favorites. Similar to the Flavescent, except the bicolor 500 has it's more of a predominant yellow kind of bar going down behind the gill plate, where the Flavescent has a lot more yellow. Come on, guys. The bicolor, one of the things that stands out the most about them is that white margin on the dorsal fin. It really stands out, and I can't really get a good shot of it right now because all of these other fish are in the way, but you see that white margin there on the top of the dorsal fin. It really stands out. Absolutely gorgeous. Primarily blue in the face, that yellow bar that goes down behind the gill plate, and then mostly blue throughout the rest of the fish, with the exception of the white margin, which is gorgeous. Love it. Love this guy. Another perfect example of a fish sent by Live Fish Direct. I mean, what can I say? They picked some winners here for us. And the last of the peacocks is this big fella right here. It is the blue orchid peacock, and this guy, let me tell you something. Lisa was debating me on this yesterday, but this is the biggest blue orchid that I've ever seen. We had them in the shop. It caused quite a stir for a while there because we got some blue orchids that were really big like this. Not quite as big as this guy, but literally I put up a shipment video of them, and as soon as I put that video up, they all sold. I mean, it was crazy. And then when I tried to get more, they just weren't available. So this is a hard fish to find, particularly at this size. I mean, come on, this guy is every bit of 6.5 inches or so. He is giant, and he's just going around. He ain't bothering nobody. He's posing for the camera, which is very nice of him to do. The blue orchid is one of the fish that got me to fall in love with African cichlids. And of course, when I started buying up my first batches of them, I could never find them. And now I have one. I have a big one, and he is very photogenic. He loves the camera. This is a good thing. So primarily like a navy blue fish, gonna have that white mohawk. I call it a white mohawk. You might call it a blaze on the forehead that extends pretty much from the top lip all the way back to the tip of the dorsal fin. Absolutely beautiful. And when these guys put their breeding dress on, they pretty much become all black with that bright white blaze. Absolutely beautiful. And I mean, I'm lucky to have one. So let's move on to the haps now, and I want to give you a really cool example of a Venustus. As I said in the video, this is one of the fish that I wanted really bad. If you recall, we had a big one named Vinny that we had for years, and he passed away, and it bothered me so much that I actually did an entire video about that fish. He was a beaut. He was a massive fish, biggest Venustus I've ever had. And so I really wanted one, but I didn't want to ask Josh for specific fish. I didn't want to be that way. So I was really excited when there was one in the shipment. And again, this is one of those fish that really should be in every African cichlid tank. I mean, they're the males like this guy. Of course, he wants to hide back there now. But it's primarily a yellow fish with the brown giraffe spots and then the blue face. The cool thing about this guy is he's got so much blue in the face, and it extends back behind his eyeball and everything. He's gorgeous. Look at him. I absolutely am crazy about this fish, and this is one of the fish that we received yesterday that has a whole lot of growing left to do. He's going to get really big. My Vinny, when he died, he was almost about 10 inches long. So this guy has got some growing to do. He's about 6 inches now. And before you know it, he'll be one of the biggest fish in the tank. Nimbichromis Venustus, you gotta have one, or else you're not a real African cichlid keeper. Moving on here to the Fireline Meloto. This is another fish that is difficult to find, and you might be thinking, he looks a lot like that blue orchid. And you'd be right, except they're a little bit lighter blue, where the blue orchid peacock is more of a navy blue. See, you can see them there, navy blue, and then the Fireline Meloto is more of the bright blue. This is one that you've seen some, that white blaze on the forehead extends down below the eyeballs, and absolutely beautiful. This guy just has a very pronounced blaze, and it extends all the way back to the tip of his dorsal fin. He is a beauty, I'm absolutely infatuated with him. Really glad that he was in this shipment yesterday. They're kind of difficult to find. I know Josh has them on the site right now, 20% off. I mean, come on. So get them while you can. They are pretty tough to find. We only had them in our shop a few times. And now the Taiwan Reef, he wants to pose for us here. He's front and center. Taiwan Reef is another one. It's probably one of those fish that you really have to have. The African Cichlid rulebook says you must have a Taiwan Reef, and look at them. It's easy to understand why. They're like a rainbow. They have every color: yellow, red, blue, white, black. I mean, everything. Absolutely beautiful. This is the Taiwan Reef hap. When we had our shop, was probably the best selling hap that we had. I mean, we could get them regularly. They're not extraordinarily hard to find, and they're a staple of the African cichlid tank. So look at that guy. He is worth it. Yes, indeed. And he is a diva. Moving on now to the Red Empress. This is one that, if you remember yesterday in the unboxing video, he had kind of dimmed out. His colors weren't really showing all that well, but Lisa was going nuts over him. Oh, he's so gorgeous. He's so gorgeous. And we both said in that video, wait till he colors up. Well, this is why. Bright blue face. Get out of the way, LWANDA. Bright blue face, similar to the Taiwan Reef. They are related, but it has the more pronounced black bars, vertical bars. Absolutely beautiful. Not going to get a whole lot bigger than most of your peacocks, so you don't, have to have a giant tank for these guys. I've never really known them to be one of the mean fish in the tank. They're just beautiful, and they just don't bother anybody. Now this guy right here was one of the surprises when we did the unboxing. Absolutely unbelievable fish. This is the thick lips. When we opened it up, I can't get a good shot of him. When we opened up the box and Lisa first pulled the bag out, I immediately thought Fusco, because he's got that long appearance to him and the same basic colors as a Fusco. But I didn't know that it was a thick lips until she turned the bag around and said, oh, okay. This is a fish that it's the first one I've ever had. I've never had one of these. It's one of those that was always on my list, but I never got to get one. So now I have one. And he is competing right now with the Livingstonii as tank boss. He hasn't quite gotten it yet. The Livingstonii is a little bigger than him. We're going to show him in a second. But he is definitely trying to be the boss. I think he's over here right now campaigning with all of these other guys to, maybe get them on board with his ideas, and he's running a campaign over here, but we'll see what happens there. I think he's going to have a battle on his hands to take over from the Livingstonii, but this guy is absolutely gorgeous. Similar to the Fusco, kind of a longer fish than what you're used to seeing, and that bright blue on the face, kind of a rainbow throughout the body. He is a beauty. And thick lips, it's easy to see why he's called the thick lips. And now he's gone, so where'd he go? I can't find him now. Here he is. His lips are going to get a little bit bigger than they are right now. They're going to swell up a little bit, and hence the name thick lips. But he's a beauty. I am so glad that he was included in this shipment. And, we'll see what happens as far as the pecking order goes. Next is the Insignis. This is another one that, when you find them, I don't care if you gotta sell something. If you find an Insignis for sale that's a big male, I'm trying to get him, you better swipe it up as quick as you can, because they're pretty difficult to find in the larger sizes. And it's pretty easy to understand why that is. Dark blue with a little bit of bright blue, and then that yellow belly that when they're really, really happy, if you know what I mean, that yellow belly just screams yellow. They're absolutely gorgeous. I did have one of these that fell in the 150 crash. I was devastated because I finally had a nice one, and then, that happened. So Josh must have known that, because he made sure I got another one in this package here. So really excited about him. Protomelas Insignis. Beautiful. Look at him. He's letting the Livingstonii get to him now. So he's a little under stress, but he'll be all right. They'll figure things out soon. The redfin Borleyi. This is another one that I never had a large Borleyi in my tank ever, and I was never able to get one. I had them in the shop for sale, but you know, they wouldn't last long in the tanks. They would, I mean, somebody would see them and they would just swipe them right up, and you can see why that is. They do get larger. He's got a little bit of growing left to do. Definitely energetic. He's moving around quite a bit, and I think he is also one of the fish campaigning for Tank Boss. I don't know how how successful he has been in his campaign. Looks like he's gotten a couple of scuffs on his side there, but again, they'll figure things out here soon enough, and that will all stop. The redfin Borleyi, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous fish, and if he wasn't squabbling with the Livingstonii right now, you would see he'd be even more pretty than he is now. That side would turn a whole lot more red, and they don't have red fins, so I've never quite figured out where the name redfin Borleyi came from, but that's the name, so I'm sticking to it. Now we get to the Azureus. Now this is one that I've heard pronounced a lot of different ways, but I say Azureus, and that's just how I do it. Absolutely beautiful. Another one of the haps that does look very similar to a peacock, and they're about the same size. We did have these a few times in the shop, but again, when you get a fish in the shop that is bright blue with that really defined white margin, I mean, you can't expect to have them in the tanks at the store for very long. I mean, they never lasted. They went really fast. This was another fish that eluded me for the longest time, and now I have one, so how lucky am I? You could be lucky too. You can order these right from Josh's site right now. I know he's got them on there. Absolutely beautiful. Get that big blue, bright blue fish in your tank. The Azureus is definitely worth it. And before we get to the Tank Boss, of course we have to talk about my guy. Here he is. Look at him, he's coming front and center. He knows I'm talking about him. This is the Bucco Noto. If you have followed me at all over the years, you know that I am a sucker for this fish. I absolutely love them. I could tell you stories about Bucco Notos. I'm not going to bore you. Absolutely love these guys. They are one of your bigger haps. This guy definitely has some more growing to do. The largest one I've ever had was about 9 inches, and he wasn't even mine. He got sold as soon as I got him in. But we got a shipment of huge Bucco Notos one time, and they came and went faster than I could even blink. But one of my all-time favorites for sure. I am a guy that likes a fish that has a little different shape to it, and the Bucco Noto having that rounded head instead of like that arrowhead shape, I just love it. He stands out. He's really long, kind of an aqua teal colored body with the blue face and the bright red anal fin, and those egg spots, they just stand out from across the room. You can't deny this guy. Again, they're trying to figure things out in this tank, so he might look a little bit stressed out right now, and I guess it's time to go ahead and show you the reason why that is. We move on now to this guy, the Tank Boss. Now, I have told stories about Livingstonii in the past, and unless you've seen it, you would never know that this is a Livingstonii. Here's what I'm talking about here, folks. Livingstonii typically, I'm going to try to put a picture up on this video while I'm talking about it. Livingstonii typically are white and brown with the giraffe spots, but this is a Livingstonii in breeding dress. Bright, bright blue. Now, I bought a group of these a long time ago, unsexed, and I came home one day, and I'll admit, this was years ago, I'll admit I did not realize that they changed this dramatically when they were in breeding dress. So I come home one day and I look in the Livingstonii tank, and there's 6 Livingstonii in there, and then one that was blue like this. I said, what in the world? Where did that fish come from? Not realizing that they completely morph into a different fish when they're in breeding dress. If this guy was calm, you would see primarily a tannish fish with the brown giraffe spots. But since he's in the mood, in a tank full of dudes, but we don't judge, we're okay with that, He is in full breeding dress and absolutely gorgeous. Look at this guy. I mean, he's the biggest fish in the tank right now. He's a little confused. He's thinking that he's got some chicks coming over tonight, so he's clearing out an area for them. But unfortunately, he doesn't have them. They're not on the way. He called, but they didn't answer. And so eventually, he's going to figure this out, and his appearance might change just a little bit. But I do think that he is going to end up being the boss of the tank. So he may stay this way forever. I'm not kidding you when I tell you this. I said it yesterday in the video. This is by far the nicest Livingstonii I've ever seen. And I've been keeping African cichlids for years, decades. So this is as nice a Livingstonii as I have ever laid my eyes on, and it's in my tank. So how cool is that? Not bragging, just saying, man, did I get lucky with this one. So there you go. That is the entire tank. I think I covered all of them. Really excited about this. I've got to put a big thank you out there to Josh and the good folks over at Live Fish Direct. And folks, if you want these fish just like you see them here in this tank, head over to livefishdirect.com. I want to explain a little bit of something here. We are working with Live Fish Direct. You're going to be seeing a lot of videos coming out in the near future about fish that they have available, specials that they're doing, and it will help us out a great deal if you use the links that are in the description of this video or links that are on my website. I have a lot of information on Live Fish Direct on my website. I'm adding more every single day. So if you use those links, what it does is it tells Josh, by way of analytics, it tells him that you came to his site by way of us referring you to him, and you know, he throws me a little bone when that happens, not to mention these fish. So it's a beautiful thing. I am so excited to partner with them, the biggest retailer of African cichlids in the US that I'm aware of. And when they sell fish like this, you can see why that is. So it is an absolute treat for us to be able to partner with them and promote their fish to you guys. You know, it was depressing to think that we weren't going to be able to talk about fish that we're selling or promote fish or talk about specials or anything like that. We weren't going to be able to talk about that anymore. Well, now we can, and we can do it through one of the finest retailers on the planet. So lucky us. So don't forget, until September 9th, 2015, there is a sale on livefishdirect.com, 20% off of your order, and if you enter Tank Talk in the promo box at checkout, they're going to give you an additional $10 off. Consider that to be like a discount off of shipping. They're already one of the lowest rates for shipping out there. Flat rate shipping, doesn't matter if you order 2 fish or 25 fish, you're going to pay the same amount for shipping. So if you enter Tank Talk in the promo box at checkout and they take an additional $10 off, it's like you're getting all of your fish shipped to you for $29.99. And folks, let me just tell you, I don't know that I ever charged a customer $29.99 for shipping. I didn't get the same rates that Josh gets. I had to charge a lot more. So it's an absolute treat to be able to get these fish shipped to you for so cheap. It's one of the biggest things that people complain about when it comes to live fish is the cost of shipping. But with Live Fish Direct, you don't have to worry about that. $29.99 right now. If you enter Tank Talk at checkout, it doesn't matter how many fish you get. It's $29.99. How beautiful is that? So help us out, help yourself out to 20% off on these fish, plus an additional $10 off for putting Tank Talk in the description. Get on it now, because, I mean, he's got plenty of inventory, but take advantage of this sale right now. Thank you again to Josh and the folks over at Live Fish Direct. I could talk all day long, but you would not watch a video that is all day long. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.